What's going on, everybody? I'm GemMint, and I just got done reading the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the Mirage years from 1993 to 1995, which is essentially Volume 2 by Jim Lawson. And this came out at the perfect time. I'm in the middle of a TMNT read-through. I just got done reading and reviewing the 3 hardcover compendiums that collect the entire first series, and this is the direct follow-up. The beautiful thing about this, it's Turtles in full color. So let's jump into this. I'm gonna do a thorough deep dive into all 13 issues. And if you enjoyed the video, leave a like on it, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell so you get notified every time a new video comes out. Let's take a look at it. All right, here we have the cover of the deluxe edition. Actually, it doesn't really do the art inside of these issues justice. The covers and the interiors actually look way better than this, but it is very cool to get, first of all, Volume 2's trade dress and the Turtles in color with the red bandanas. This is 93 through 95. Here is the spine, nice green, goes well with the IDW run and with the compendiums. So this is a 13 issue run by Jim Lawson, which is considered Volume 2 from the Mirage Era. No Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird, but Jim Lawson does a great job here with the art, with the storytelling. This retails $59.99. And when I did the haul video on this, I mentioned the canceled TMNT Archie comics, the TMNT adventure stuff. Well, there is a hardcover compendium solicited for them, and it's supposed to come out at the end of the month. It's Volume 1, so it contains the first 3-issue miniseries, and then, what is it, issues 1 through 17 from out of that 72-issue run. You can pre-order that now over on organicpricebooks.com. Use code GemMint, you'll save an additional $2. It looks like it's gonna be in the same vein as the original Mirage compendiums because it has a $99 price point. However, you can get it for $75 on Organic Price Books. Great packaging, the shipping is quick. They're currently having their overstock distribution sale, and you can get titles like The Amazing Spider-Man Brand New Day Omnibus up to 50% off. And if you're overseas, if you're in the EU, comicsbugle.com has it up for pre-order as well. You can pre-order it. They won't charge you until the book is ready to ship. It's free shipping, no taxes or import fees if you're within the EU. Code GemMint will save you $5 off your first order, and if you continue to order through them, you'll build up rewards points, which will lead to some free books. Awesome to see all of the Turtle stuff being collected. I gotta give a shout out to Greg Katzman over at IDW. I know he's a huge Turtles guy and have a feeling he's the driving force with getting these all collected. I don't know for sure, that's just a little hunch I have, but shout out to Greg. All right, beautiful cover page. Here we have some credits. You got one of the Turtles here. All right, then the table of contents with more credits. You have the pretty long introduction here by Jim Lawson, just talking about the weight of the Turtles and then him coming on to bring this run to the forefront. Awesome wraparound cover here, full color, issue 1. And it's a very art-led book. It's very little dialogue. I got through this so quickly. Now, issue 1, Memories of the Future, I feel like this didn't really happen. I don't know if this is a canon issue, but it takes place directly from where the Mirage run left off. So you have all the Turtles and Casey Jones. They're all living in the same apartment. They're kind of cramped. Casey Jones has his daughter Shadow, which he had with the woman from the diner that passed away, but he's living with April O'Neil. April O'Neil had a nightmare about Baxter Stockman, and this run is basically a Baxter Stockman as the villain run. So then you have Raphael jumping down, chasing this rat. Rat turns into this huge beast. He gets captured by some Triceratons and another alien, which will actually take place at the end of here as well. But it ends with here like as a Michelangelo production, almost like this wasn't a real story, and then they're just watching it on TV. So not really sure what was going on with issue 1, but I dug the art. I dug the pacing of it and everything. So here's issue 2. You have the Turtles all hanging around in the apartment. Leonardo is out looking for a new home base for them, a new lair. We get introduced to DARPA. So DARPA is this organization. It's the Defense and Research Project Administration. This will play a major role into this story. So here's some of the crew in DARPA. You can see that they open a door that has some weaponry and some experiments going on. And then we can see who's behind the DARPA stuff. You have Baxter Stockman himself. We see somebody roll up and kind of investigate what's going on here. And we find out who that person is. It's actually somebody from that original run, Nobody, the police officer slash vigilante. So here's Leo out on the streets. I like this just from the cover of this issue. Yeah, but again, a lot of artwork telling the story, little dialogue. We see Baxter Stockman. He starts prepping himself for surgery, and you can see what he's going to do. He's going to give himself a lobotomy. No, he puts his mind into the consciousness of this robot. So Baxter Stockman gets a little bit crazier. Here's issue 3, back at DARPA, finding these men that have been killed. They can see this robot hanging up by the wires. And then they find Baxter Stockman's body with his head chopped off. And again, he put his brain into this robot. So that's what we got for Baxter Stockman. Takes his glasses off of his dead body. Now we got the robot out on the loose. Here's Raph going into the basement, finding this big, huge thing. This was from the Turtles and Savage Dragon crossover. And Raphael also looking for a new lair. So actually, here's Nobody checking up on the home. So it looks like you have Raph back at the farm, and then you have the other 3 turtles are at the apartment with April and Casey. So here's Nobody. I like how they took him from kind of like the non-canon issues and brought him into canon. Then we have the neighbor peeping the whole scene here. This is where Nobody learns that this abandoned building that they're seeing movement in belongs to an Arnold Jones, so he recognizes the name right away. Mr. Bronze is this guy's name. So this is going to tie in with the overarching story with DARPA and all that stuff. So here's where the turtles find another underground lair in the sewers. It kind of reminded me of the Secret of the Ooze movie, where they find that big kind of underground railroad type of place. They really like it, but there's something down here that makes it to where they can't really live there. So here's Baxter Stockman as this big robot. Moving on to issue 4. Again, big, huge splash page, no dialogue. Inner monologue with Baxter. Here's Nobody staking out the home. He already knows that the turtles are involved. And this is where he meets up with... I can't tell who they are unless I see their weapons. I forgot. Which one are you? Picasso? It's actually Donatello. So Donatello linking up with Nobody, and they have a little bit of a team up here. Here's Leo investigating the underground lair. Huge cavern underneath. Something comes out of the water. Happens to be this alien amphibian type of creature. Gets him stuck on the ceiling in some type of goo, kind of like alien style. And then there's this huge snapping turtle that lives underground here. So Leo's captured. He's underwater like the straight NES game. This big, enormous turtle is coming for him, gouges out his eyeball. Then he comes face to face with this alien being. Cover of issue 5. They kind of did something interesting with the covers too. It's like you have the forefront image and then they blur out what's in the background. Pretty cool for 94. All right, back to the amphibian creature. Kind of looks like the creature from Hellboy, right? So Leo fighting toe-to-toe. Snapping turtle still coming at him. Now you have the other turtles. You have Raph and Mikey. They're with Casey Jones, showing him the digs, looking for Leonardo, but they can't find him. He's in battle right now, and I believe the path to where Leo is got blocked off as well. So big battle. Look at the colors, too. Trippy colors. Coming out of the sewer into the garbage. Finds the alien's nest and threatens one of its eggs. That's when the other turtles finally find Leo. And so does the huge snapping turtle. So that snapping turtle comes crashing down. Turtles reunite with Leo, except for Donatello. He's with Nobody. Then we see a creature coming out of the water, twin towers in sight. Look at the scene with the rubble and the amphibian gripping his egg. Big snapping turtle there. Baxter Stockman coming out of the water, coming to New York City. Here's issue 6. And yeah, I mentioned this during the haul video, but I like how they did the pages like with this yellowing. Here we got Baxter Stockman killing some dude in a phone booth. Pretty bloody scene. Back at the apartment, Casey with Shadow, with April, the turtles. Again, they're feeling cramped. They're ready to move on, but they end up going their separate ways, which is kind of a big deal. They're brothers. They've lived together their entire lives, but they don't really agree on where they want to go next. So April gets attacked by Baxter Stockman. He sticks her in her chest with like this, I don't know if it's like a needle or just a sharp object, causing a big scene in the streets. The cops come. They take down the information. They don't really believe, April, that a big robot poked you with his big spike. But then she's approached by a different department. I believe those are the DARPA guys trying to figure out what's going on. Looking for Baxter Stockman, who escaped that DARPA facility. Of course, the turtles can't be seen by humans, so they're hiding below, trying to figure out what happened with April. Baxter Stockman blocks off the way underneath so they can't follow him. Here we are jumping into issue 7, back at the apartment. Casey tending to April, upset with himself that Baxter Stockman was able to harm her the way that he did. At this point, they don't know who it is. They're thinking the Foot Clan is back with retaliation, but they have a pact with Karai, so they don't think it really is the Foot Clan. But again, they don't know who attacked them and why they went for April O'Neil. Here we've got nobody trying to get some answers from the DARPA agents. So Casey hits the street, vigilante style, trying to get some answers out of the DARPA agents, finds out that Baxter Stockman is the culprit, lets the turtles know, and they think he's locked up in prison, but obviously he's escaped. And then Baxter leaves this message on the building. He shoots it out with his gun that, April, I'm coming for you tonight. So here's the gun that shot into the building with the message. The turtles find Baxter Stockman. Here goes a little fight. Baxter starts shooting at the turtles. He goes, Leo charges right at him. Baxter Stockman takes care of the 2 turtles, but then you have Raph coming with Casey Jones. So big battle here with Baxter Stockman. Finally, we get Donatello back with nobody, who's dressed up in his vigilante outfit. Look at the cover here. Old school 90s lens flare. All right, so where we picked up, Baxter hurling a chunk of brick at him, hits nobody. They're able to sever Baxter's right arm off. So they're starting to damage him. Nobody wants to hit him with the bazooka. I love how Raph tells him, blast him. Just do it, even though he's vulnerable. Here's from the cover. I like how they did that. The covers mattered in this issue. Like, what happens in the issue was depicted on the cover. So again, just this big brawl with Baxter. He jumps up on the helicopter, brings the helicopter down. So Raphael at this point is dropped off of the building. Donatello screaming at nobody. He was supposed to protect him. This is like that meme with the guy's hand on the shoulder. But yeah, so now Raph has separated. Why is it Raph always the one that gets separated from the turtles? Baxter is feeling dizzy. He's pretty messed up. And Raphael has been captured by somebody. We don't know yet. All right, so here goes Baxter. He's leaking fluids, starting off with issue 9, talking to himself. His systems start doing stuff that it wasn't programmed to do, and it's able to heal himself, give himself a new hand. He's able to check the schematics and see what it's building, replacing what has been removed. So here's everybody back at the apartment trying to figure out where Raph can be. They're being scouted out by DARPA agents. Here we have this guy, Mr. Bronze. He hears them all coming, and he busts in on the DARPA agents while they're in Casey's apartment. He ends up fighting with the DARPA agents. And then we don't find out who he really is until like the last couple of issues or so. But you can see as he's interrogating this one remaining agent that he's got some type of supernatural powers. He's able to extract the truth out of him. All right, so the 3 turtles and Casey looking for Raph. They run into Baxter again. Another battle between the turtles and Baxter Stockman. Great art. Again, no dialogue on these pages, just running through the sewers, all through the water, through tunnels. And Baxter gets them in quite a predicament. Now they're in kind of knee-high water, and he's up there with a live wire. So they're pretty much done for. Ready to drop the wire. Leo launches his sword. It hits the wire and sticks it into the building. The electricity shoots back up at Baxter. And I want to say this is what takes Baxter Stockman all the way out. It was a close call. Quick save by Leo. They kind of figure out that this robot was actually Baxter Stockman inside of it. They find his glasses. So that ends off this issue. They still don't know where Raph is because Baxter didn't have Raph. All right, so back at the apartment, issue 10, Casey and April, Mr. Bronze, he comes in. He gives Casey the lowdown on what it is. It's this government agency. He knows that they have Raphael. So now he's going to help them get him back. Here's Raph back here at the agency, breaks out of his constraints, trying to leave the facility, and runs up on all these aliens in tubes. You have one of the Triceratons from the original run, some other aliens and creatures. Yeah, so he recognizes the Triceraton right away. He gets attacked by one of the aliens. DARPA agents come in and stun it, and then they capture Raphael once again. So now Mr. Bronze, he's recruited the Turtles with Casey and Nobody, and they're going to go to the DARPA headquarters to try to rescue Raph. So here's some experimentation, kind of like some MK Ultra type of stuff. Mr. Bronze is filling them in on all the deets. And then we have the mission itself. They're out there. They've got their supplies. They're ready to go into the building. There's other onlookers, kind of like an Area 51 situation. Helicopter overhead goes by. And then on to issue 11, where they're going to infiltrate the building. Check out the Turtles with Casey and Nobody. And look at the back. It almost looks like CGI they use for the background. Pretty cool. The mountainous terrain. So Nobody is now suited up. Casey Jones has a weapon, and the Bronze guy was able to give Casey Jones extra confidence by making him think he's like Arnold Schwarzenegger. He talks in that same accent for the rest of the run, which is pretty funny. But it explains why Casey is so like headstrong and gung-ho, and he's making the first move. He bashes through this truck's window shield with a double kick to two of the agents. And it's funny. Hop in, girlies. Like, he sounds like Arnold for the rest of this run. So here now they have the truck. It's kind of the Trojan horse they're going to try to use to get into the building. Heavy weaponry. Again, he's basically Commando or Arnold Schwarzenegger, Dutch from Predator. Busting through here, taking out DARPA agents. Casey is a wild man. He's on the bike, busting Hueys, hitting them with the bada. All right, so they bust in. They can see that same room with the aliens where Raph was. Here we have one of the Triceratons. Now, the only thing I feel like there was a continuity plot hole. I thought that the Triceratons weren't able to breathe our air, and that's why that one Triceraton was getting like, he was kind of losing it at the end of the other run. This other alien guy plays a little helping hand. They explain that some of the aliens cannot be removed from those containers because they won't be able to survive. The Triceratons really is not supposed to either, but here we go, issue 12. So the alien has a mothership that has now found a distress signal, so it's headed toward Earth. It's going to actually destroy the Earth. The Triceratons are incoming based on the Triceraton back on Earth, who's actually playing the Turtles right now. They think that he's on their side, but he's secretly against them and phoning his own race that are in outer space. All right, cool. Turtles find Raph. They break him out. Now you got these funky aliens with the Turtles getting into fights with the DARPA agents. Then here's where we can see the Triceraton. We already know he double-crossed them, but now he blasts one of their friends that he's fighting with when no one's looking. Triceraton's a damn traitor. I guess he's loyal to his race, but his race, they're here. They're on a one-way collision with Earth now, so the Turtles don't know it yet, but they're about to find out. There's this weird alien here that they find at the bottom of this cave. Casey Jones throws some explosives at it, helps destroy it. All right, but now the Turtles are able to leave up out of that canyon and break out. Unfortunately, the whole army is there to greet them. And then here goes the last issue, guys. So Turtles are trying to get out. Leo almost falls. Raph catches him. And we didn't really see the panel. I didn't really expound on it, but there was a little bit of a rift in the relationship with them wanting to go their separate ways and not live together anymore. Big fight scene now with the army and these alien crafts, the Triceraton trying to get away. Casey still got his Arnold vibe going, blasting everybody with guns. Here we can see the Triceraton's plan to go warp speed, slingshot around the sun with a one-way collision to Earth. Mr. Bronze seemingly get blasted by the Triceraton just like he did that other alien. So it's a pretty sad goodbye with Leo and Mr. Bronze. Triceraton gets himself killed. One of those aircrafts that was flying around and shooting falls on him. He gets destroyed. So Mr. Bronze actually gets away. Again, he's got supernatural powers. He's able to kind of memory wipe all the events that happen here. It seems like the Triceratons crash into Earth and incinerate everybody, but I think Mr. Bronze, he's got some type of powers he was able to go back in time to stop it or something along those lines. And then everyone's back at the apartment, and it's almost like issue 1. It's like, did this even happen? But then we can see that Mr. Bronze wishing his goodbyes to Leo, that it did actually happen, but he was able to prevent the catastrophe. And that's it, you guys. That's the whole run. No bonus material, all 13 issues. All right, everybody, I hope you enjoyed the video. I definitely enjoyed this run, seeing the Turtles in full color with the red bandanas, this Baxter Stockman villain story. Casey Jones is there, nobody is there, Mr. Bronze, April. Very cool to see this, especially after reading the original series not too long ago. So let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Are you picking this up? Looks great on the shelf with the compendiums, with the IDW run, and I cannot wait for the TMNT adventures, the Archie stuff. Leave me a comment down below. Thank you for watching, and stay minty fresh. Peace.